Thank you so much, Ma. I'm incredibly excited this morning. A warm greetings to everyone joining us from across the globe, and welcome to the maiden edition of Let's Talk Politics, Governance and Leadership. This space was birthed out of a critical necessity, the need to have raw, intentional, and transformative conversations about who leads us, how we are governed, and how we can intentionally build a more inclusive political landscape. We're not here to just analyze status quo. We're here to challenge it, to disrupt it, and also reshape it for women and every citizen who believes that true democracy leaves no one behind. And I could think of no better way to launch this journey than with a guest whose life embodies the very essence of inclusive leadership. Joining us today as our historic first guest is a phenomenal leader, a champion of gender equality, and a powerhouse in international development. The UN Women Country Representative to Nigeria and ECOWAS, Her Excellency Ms. Beatrice Eyong. Your Excellency, we are incredibly honored to have you pave the way for this show. And when I say we, I'm talking of Women Development Monitoring Initiative, and also we have a great support from Women's Radio, WFM 91.7. You're highly welcome, Your Excellency.
Thank you, and please, you could just refer to me as Eyong Beatrice. Don't worry. I'm also excited to be here today.
Thank you so much, Ma.
Yes.
So first, I would like us to start by looking at the concept of leadership, politics, and governance, because there's a perception and a myth around it when it comes to women in politics, when we talk about women in governance, and also there's a little bit of tension in some quarters when you mention the word women and leadership. So take us through this, demystifying this myth, and also what is the perception that people have and the general society think of when it comes to women in politics, and what the society needs to know. What is it that everyone out there needs to know about these key three concepts of politics, leadership, and governance?
Okay, thank you so much. In fact, I am so happy to be here, and I'm excited to be here. I'm so happy to see young women who are actually very active in our space. And as you know, I've spent about 40 years in this space, and I think very soon I will be a little bit taking a back seat. I will be happy to see how young women are actually doing some of the things we couldn't do and achieving some of the results we couldn't achieve. So I'm so happy to be here. You're very right in terms of women in politics. How people perceive women who are in politics, how the general public looks at politics. And that's why sometimes women, they see women as if politics is not their space. They see women in politics as women who have sold part of their morals. They see there are a lot of things. Some people say politics is dirty, and so they don't want to get into politics. And some women are afraid to be in politics because there's an erroneous idea that is going on that women who are highly placed always have to give something of themselves for them to be where they are. But I'm a living testimony that I give nothing, and I'm where I am. I did didn't give anybody anything from my body or so. So actually, the Greek word for politics is it starts from the word polis, which according to them that time it was simply how the city is managed. Finish. It was simply like that. But we have evolved, and at the level where we are, there's a big confusion about what politics is all about. And politics mean different things to people, really. That is one thing we must put on the table, that politics means different things to people. Some people see politics as, they see politics with the lens of power. For them, it's just having power. Some people, what they want with politics is not for the people, it's for them, they themselves, to have power. And those, they can go at all lengths to do whatever is necessary to get that power. Some look at it as a means of, achieving financial success. So some people, they define politics with the lenses of power, resource distribution, and collective decision making. Some others also say, politics is seen as a struggle for the acquisition of power, of control, the utilization of state power to distribute scarce resources. So others also see politics as the art and science of government. Some just, this description, some just say, okay, it's just how the initiative, the institutions of the nation is being run, managed, and how laws should be made and how they should be enforced. Others still see politics as the authoritative allocation of values. So some people are looking at politics as the way people can organize themselves to determine binding rules and values that society may have. And still yet, some other see politics as dirty. For you to be a politician, you must be dirty. You must involve in different kind of dirty policies. And as you know, women are actually not so much wanting to be viewed in that light, that they are women of low morals, they are women who can sleep with any man, they are women. So some women will be afraid, and even some men are just afraid to get into politics. But I still just want to encourage those sisters and brothers that the fact that politics might have involved or is still involved in dirty activities, it doesn't say that politics is dirty. It's what people decide to make out of politics. It's just like the knife you cook in the kitchen. You can decide to use the knife to do good things like cooking, and you can still decide to take that same knife and kill somebody. So we should not focus only on the negative aspects that we are seeing. We should also see that the original idea about politics was not dirty. In fact, philosophers like Aristotle, for them, politics was actually an ethical activity. Ethical. It means values are attached to it. Ethical activities. So people who were supposed to be in politics were actually shining examples of our society, those who have ethical values, those who have moral values, in fact. And the aim of politics at that time, the way they saw it, was actually aimed at seeking the common of human beings and how to organize human interaction for the good of human beings. So you can see that the focus of this kind of thinking about politics was actually, first, you have to be somebody ethical with values, and secondly, your primary motivation should have been for the good of all, the good of human beings. So the welfare of the people should be at the heart of politics. Should be at the heart. So if you, a man or a woman, you want to go into politics, you would be going with the overall goal of improving the people's lives. And you even see democracy, as they say it starts with people, it ends with people. It should be a government of the people, by the people, for the people. So any politics that is actually excluding a particular group of people, as I've always told parliamentarians, is that anytime you're doing politics, doing development, and excluding some groups of people, you are deliberately, even if you are unconsciously doing it, you are deliberately planning for rebellion, because those people will come for their resources, and they will come for their spaces, and they will come for their structures. The other thing that I also looked at while I was preparing to come was governance. What is actually governance? Sometimes people talk about good governance. Some people talk about bad governance. For me, governance is governance. If you cannot practice governance the way it's supposed to be practiced, then you are not practicing governance. So for me, I don't look at, oh, this is good governance or this is a bad governance. If you are practicing governance, what should be there? The governance is actually referring to the systems, the rules, the values, the processes through which an organization or nation or society is directed, managed, and held accountable. So there is an aspect of vision in terms of governance. Those who are governing should have a vision. And those who are governing should be able to manage whatever is put at their disposal. They should be able to manage it for the good of human beings, for the good of the people. And they are not above the law. They are also held responsible. They are accountable. They are accountable to the people. So you can see here, you see vision, you see management, and you see accountability. And some basic principles that will be attached to it is transparency, accountability, rule of law, participation, that is inclusion of all the different categories of people. So the participation is representative. For instance, in Nigeria, women form nearly 50% or 50% of the population. What should have been in the rules and regulations of this country should have been parity. We should not have seen a parliament less than 5%. We should not have seen a private sector less than 50%. We should not have seen the State House of Assemblies less than 50%. It should have been 50-50. And inside that 50-50, we should have had women living with disabilities, women's widows, women from male-headed households. I mean, have different groups of women in the society. It should have been representative, but we are not yet seeing it. So, but I hope that as we continue to bring these points to our leaders, they will actually come to see it. The last thing you asked for me to talk about is leadership. And I want to say that leadership is what Africa needs. We have the resources. We have human beings. We have natural. We have space. We have youth. We have everything that we can actually even fund our own development. But what we need are patriotic leaders in Africa. Everywhere in Africa, if you look, most places, you will see that the leaders we have are actually the problems that we have. In fact, to be very frank, from our homes, in our business places, because leadership determines the success or the failure of an organization, of an entity. So, leadership is actually the ability to influence, to motivate, to inspire people, to guide others to an overall goal. And what is that overall goal? The common good for the people. And leaders, if we have this kind of view that we are there not for ourselves, we are there for the people, for the common good of the organization, for the common goods of the people, then I think we will develop fastly, and it will develop in a very sustainable manner. Because leadership is not a title, it's not a formal authoritative, it's the capacity to align people, create clear direction, and empower people to achieve results. You see, when you are alone, you may achieve some results. But when you are many, you achieve better results faster, and you go further and deeper. So a leader's job is to align these people, motivate them, inspire them to actually achieve results that they could not achieve if they were doing it on their own. But one thing I have seen in my few years of working on the field is people confuse the difference between leadership and management. They actually confuse. One is visionary. Leadership is visionary. Management is operational. The day-to-day, as the leader is actually looking at the bigger picture, the future, the vision, where they want to go, the direction. And the manager is actually working day to day to make sure that it is accomplished. And sometimes we can have this capability in one person, and sometimes we may not have it in one person. So we should be honest enough with ourselves to determine whether we are leaders or we are managers, or we are both. And if we are not one of it, we should look for people who have those capabilities to help us achieve the results. So I think with these clarifications, we might encourage other people to get into politics. Politics
Absolutely.
is not a dating game. It's people who have made it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. With all the great, powerful interventions you just made, I believe more women will not just be encouraged, but they will be empowered hearing the very great things you said. Personally, being in politics, I'm already inspired by your words, and I deeply appreciate you for that. And I'm happy also from what you said. You talked on the leadership across Africa. And I know before coming to Nigeria, you worked in countries like Mali, Niger, and you did a great work in your home country, which is Cameroon. And right now, we've seen across Africa, we've seen democratic backsliding and political transitions in recent years. In terms of political crisis, women are often the ones holding communities together, yet they are excluded, like you rightly mentioned. So I want to put this into two. How do you think women can have a seat at the table, or how do you think we can force those doors to open for women? And also, looking at 5 years from now, what is that one legislative and cultural shift you want to see in Nigeria and the ECOWAS regarding women's leadership?
Thank you so much. That's a very, very important and interesting questions. The first thing is, let's first of all ask ourselves, why is there democratic backsliding? As Africans who live in Africa, I am an African woman. I live in Africa, and I've watched countries. I've worked in different countries, as you've said. So why is it that people are backsliding? It's because the democracy in Africa is not bringing the desired results. So people are actually disappointed with the way democracy is actually carried out in our countries. And so if you look at from independence till now, you will realize that the things that we should have realized, just imagine that when we came out of independence, we were at the same level with some countries in Asia. And today those countries have left us behind. So the African youth and maybe women, they are actually disappointed in the results of democracy. So that's why there are backsliding in democracy. For me, as a person, I believe democracy is the best way we can organize ourselves if we follow democratic principles of transparency, of integrity, of accountability, of rule of law, of participation, equitable participation. I think people would desire to remain in democracy. And I heard one time one person was saying that the democracy of the winner takes it all is also the cause of too much violence in our countries. That there should have been something like proportional democracy. If we have 4 or 5 parties who are going for election, we should agree that, okay, if this after the election, those who have the biggest number should be able to take this and this and this and these responsibilities. And the second one will take these responsibilities. I tell you, some people say we will not have the violence and the killings that always accompany elections in our countries. So what am I saying? I'm saying that democracy in Africa has to deliver the goods. It has to deliver the results for people to continue believing in democracy. You can see it in the voting apathy. You can see this, that in a country, it may be just 10%, it may be just 15% people who are interested to go to vote. You see, why is it that? So for me, and the people who can make the difference are women. If women are sitting at the table, women will make the difference. Women will cause democracy to bring the dividends, to bring the results. Why? Because women will bring the issues of the population on the table. Women will bring issues of health. Women will bring issues of families. Women will bring issues. First, our president, who declared this year as a year of the family. Women will bring different aspects of society on the table. Because for women, their issue is not just to grab power. Their issue is for their families to develop. So if women are sitting at the table, I tell you, development is going to be accelerated. The GDP will grow. The lives of the people will be improved. Because I believe that women are those who deliver human beings. Men don't know the pain of having a baby and taking care of a baby up till when it becomes a man or a woman. So women always have that feeling. And I can ask you, in the recent time, how many women have taken their countries to war? No one. We have had African women who have been presidents and even in the world. But ask how many of them? Look at the recent conflict right now. If you look at the faces of those who have decided to take their countries to wars, it will be the men. Yes, just look at it. It's not that I'm trying to bring some ideas, but it is a reality. So if women are sitting there, we'll have more peace on the face of the earth. So what are we supposed to do at this particular point in time for women to sit on the table? What I would tell you is enforcement. There should be enforcement and accountability. Because if you take a country like Nigeria has ratified 75% of all the normative frameworks for the protection and promotion of women's rights from Beijing platform for action. That they agreed. Nigeria was there. They agreed that they will give 35%. And that is what was translated in the national gender policy, a 35% representation to women. They also ratified CEDAW, the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, which is stipulating 30%. They went further to ratify Maputo Protocol. Maputo Protocol is actually also talking about parity. All those were ratified by the country. So for me, the problems that we have is the enforcement. That's it.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
I don't know, maybe at ECOWAS level or... Okay, thank you.
Wow, that was an incredible and insightful masterclass to kick off this series of Let's Talk Politics and Governance, a massive and Thank you once again, Your Excellency. You've been a phenomenal guest, and launching this is an incredible feat for us, and we say a big thank you.